University. That was a big announcement for us on Sunday. And as we move to the SEC, one thing we do talk to people a lot about has to do with the reality of when you make that move, how you got to, I mean, we're going to have to step it up even more. You know, we've made a lot of progress in the last decade, but we have a long ways to go. Where we are, we got a long ways to go where we're going, you know? And so we got to really step that up. How we perform as teams, how we perform as coaches, how we perform as season ticket holders, how we perform as donors, all that kind of stuff. Because again, if we stand still at what we're doing, you know, you're going to end up getting run over. So you got to make sure that we're doing those things, and we understand that going into our league with our eyes wide open. You know, a lot of this stuff shifted recently, so I'm going to talk specifically about that. You know, Brady Deaton is our chancellor. He was the chair of the Big 12 Board of Directors, and we talked about, you've heard us talk about this before. Brady, as the chair of the Board of Directors, he had a role, and that was to be the leadership person, the CEO of all the CEOs in the league, and he was doing everything he could to keep our league together, everything. He was busting his tail as the Big 12. And our focus all along had been on how can we keep making the Big 12 stronger? What can we do? How can we all be a part of this? And everything was looking like it was in pretty good shape up until July, when all of a sudden at the end of July, you heard that Texas A&M was leaving, right? Everybody heard that. Well, that obviously caused a lot of ripples, more than ripples, you know, a lot of waves. And then all of a sudden you got 9 people that are saying, okay, well, let's see, we've lost Nebraska, we've lost Colorado, we're losing A&M, but we're all together. We're 9 of us and we're together. We're locked and we're ready to go. And we have all these rivalries and all these things we're trying to do. And come along about the 1st of September of this year, everybody was locked and loaded. Everybody was set to go. Everybody was focused. And then come along on, I used that term twice, I'm sorry, but on September 2nd, there was a statement that came out of Norman, Oklahoma from Senator Bourne that said, you guys probably don't remember this, I've lived this right now for over a year, every day, which talked about the fact that we're not going to be a wallflower. We're going to have to look at what's best for the University of Oklahoma. You guys probably remember this, because this was the day before our opening game against Miami of Ohio. I won't forget this, because I'm up in the press box, and I was getting ready for the start of the football game, and there were 15 media members that were standing outside wanting to visit with me. I'm like, what's this all about? And because it was a response to this comment. And my comment coming back to that was, what that does, Mike, do you think that impacts the league? I said, absolutely, because it lends to the air of instability. So over the course of a year and a half, these 7 institutions publicly had said they were looking at different options. Over a year and a half. While Brady Deaton is the chair of the board trying to hold everything together, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State all looking at their other options. You all watch this. It's been on the bottom of the ticker, right? For a year and a half. And finally, when this thing came up in the 1st of September, that's when our boss said, you want to know something? That's enough. I mean, he did. It was like, that's it. We have to look out what's in the best interest of the University of Missouri. Because the reality of that is, if Oklahoma State, Texas, and Texas Tech would have left and gone, where would that have left us? Guys, we'd have been in doo-doo. Okay, I mean, really. So the role that has to happen when that takes place that we believe is, and in my role, you want to present your boss, I think any of us would want to do this, with options. Any of us that are sitting in a situation, you don't ever want to go into your boss and say, okay, here's a problem, boss, and then you walk away. The boss wants you to say, okay, you got a problem, give me some solutions, give me some options. I think that's what any boss would want. And so over the course of that time, in 7 or 8 weeks, we were able to provide our board of curators, our president, our leadership team with options. And our leadership team said, the option that we want to choose is we're going to choose this option here. And that option is to go to the SEC beginning July 1st, 2012. Why? Why? People say, well, why? And it really boils down to this. It boils down to stability. It boils down to trust. It boils down to equality. And it boils down to long-term future viability of what you're trying to do. You know, as you look at the SEC, you guys, that league has been in existence for 78 years. 78. And there's not people looking to leave the SEC. They've added these teams since 78 years ago. They added North Carolina State. Listen to me. I was talking to Nico, who's the team for North Carolina State. They added Arkansas and South Carolina in 1991, and they're adding Texas A&M and Missouri in 2012. And there was a question that was asked of Commissioner Slive on Sunday, and that question was, Commissioner, tell us about exit fees. Tell us about grant of rights. And first he's talking about exit fees. He goes, exit fees, we don't really have any exit fees. Nobody's ever wanted to leave. I mean, that's a simple, but that's true, okay? Whereas that's not the case in where we've been. The other one had to do with grant of rights. And he talked about the fact that we don't know about grant of rights. Everybody just kind of pitches in and we share it all equally and all that other stuff. That's the environment that you're really looking for in a league. In a league, you're looking for these 5 things. First, you want to make sure everybody's treated equally, the same. Everybody at the table has the same voice, they have the same vote, and they're treated the same. The second thing you want to make sure is that if one of those institutions in those leagues, or any of those institutions, have some inventory, have some benefits, have some whatever, you want to know what the parameters on those benefits are, what you could do with those, and are they going to take away from the family? And that's where you focus in on having an institutional network and the type of issues that creates. The third thing you want to know is who are the people that are going to be at the table with you, who's at the dinner table, right? And who are the kids and stuff. And the fourth has to do with what are the television packages, what's the footprint, how much reach can you have? And then the fifth and final thing is you want to know about is, how long are we going to be married? Now, I did say this privately. I didn't say this in front of this whole group. That was a pretty big press conference on Sunday. I did say this privately, though. I can't imagine if I went to Rocky, my wife, and I said, okay, we're going to be married for 6 years, and then we're going to reevaluate, how things are. I mean, come on, you guys. Now, I'm telling you, everybody makes this thing so complicated. All this stuff, they try to make it all complicated. It ain't complicated. You take a look and say, okay, I'll tell you what, we're going to throw it all in for 6 years. And then we'll kind of figure out, after 6 years, if we want to still be together. I don't know how that makes you guys feel, but that wouldn't have made Rocky feel very good, right? And it wouldn't make us feel like we had a long-term future. So when you throw those kind of things in the mix, people are saying, what do we need to do to protect and to be able to do the right things for Mizzou? The SEC, it was determined, is the right thing for us to do.